The stories we inherited and the ones we keep telling? There's something most of us don't realize until much later in life. We don't just live in the world. We live inside a story about the world. Inside your head, there's a quiet narrator running almost all the time, telling you who you are, what things mean, why people act the way they do, what you should expect from love, from work, from yourself. It's like living inside a private cinema, an endless reel of interpretations, assumptions, explanations. And most of us never stop to ask a surprisingly important question. Where did these stories come from? Because once you ask that, another question follows naturally. Do I actually still want to live by them? We're storytelling creatures. We always have been. Long before we have language, before memory, before reason, we're already learning what the world feels like. From our earliest caregivers, we absorb emotional lessons. Is the world safe? Is love reliable? Do I have to earn care? Do I disappear if I need too much? No one sits us down and explains these things. They settle into us quietly, through tone, presence, absence, touch. And those early impressions often become the blueprint for how we expect relationships to feel for the rest of our lives. Then there's culture. Every society hands us scripts about success, worth, gender, achievement, failure. Stories like, be strong, don't fall behind. A good life looks like this. Real adults don't struggle like that. They feel natural because everyone around us seems to believe them too. Then come our own experiences. Moments charged with emotion, especially pain, shame, or pride, etch stories into memory. A rejection can quietly teach, I'm not enough. A win can teach, I'm capable. The brain loves explanations. It would rather tell a flawed story than sit with uncertainty. And then there are peers. Especially in adolescence, we learn which versions of ourselves are acceptable. Which stories are safe to believe out loud? Which ones get rewarded? Which ones get mocked? Add media on top of all this. Films, advertising, social media, comparison. And suddenly our inner voice isn't entirely our own. And even without all of that, the brain fills in gaps automatically. It assumes. It interprets. It creates meaning. Often harshly. Often unfairly. Once a story takes root, repetition does the rest. We notice what confirms it. We overlook what contradicts it. We retell it until it feels like fact. The problem isn't that we have stories, everyone does. The problem is when we mistake them for reality. Unquestioned stories quietly shape our lives. They shrink what feels possible. They sabotage relationships. They fuel anxiety, shame, and self-doubt. They block growth, not because we can't change, but because we don't realize we're allowed to. And here's the quietly liberating truth. Stories are learned, and what's learned can be revised. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about seeing clearly. It starts with noticing. When something stirs you, anger, shame, fear, pause and ask, what story am I telling myself right now? Try to name it in one sentence. Something like, if I fail, I'm worthless. If I'm honest, I'll be rejected. If I slow down, I'll fall behind. Then get curious about its origin. Where did this story come from? Who modeled it? When did it first feel true? What experiences kept reinforcing it? This matters because it reminds you, this story was learned. It is not destiny. Next, test it gently. Is this story always true? When has it not been true? What evidence doesn't fit? Often the story weakens the moment you look at it directly. Then, reframe. Not into something unreal, but into something fair. Instead of, I'm worthless when I fail. Try, I'm learning, and my worth isn't erased by mistakes. Instead of, I must be perfect. Try, I can grow without shaming myself. New stories feel strange at first. That's normal, so you practice them. You repeat them. You write them. You say them when the old story shows up. And notice where the old story lives in your body. The tight chest, the clenched jaw, the sinking stomach. Breathe there. Soften. Let the body learn what the mind is relearning. Finally, look for experiences that reinforce the new story. If your new story is I deserve respect, practice setting boundaries. If it's I'm worthy of love, spend time with people who treat you kindly. Stories change fastest when lived, not just thought. You didn't choose most of the stories in your head. They were planted by family, culture, experience, and a brain trying to make sense of the world. But you do get to choose which ones you keep telling. Because in the end, the stories you rehearse become the shape of your life. And when you change your stories, you change what feels possible. That's not self-deception. That's authorship.